It is time to start, and good morning and welcome to the commission meeting. Please don't judge the commission based on my performance. I'm not Mrs. Leeds. I guess we'll call the meeting to order and we'll have a roll call.
Chairwoman Leeds, absent today. Vice Chair Barrett.
Here.
Commissioner Fisher.
Here.
Commissioner Weaver.
Here.
Commissioner Goins. She's just
Should be on her way. Okay. Item 3 is approval of minutes. Are there any changes or amendments to the agenda?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No amendments to the agenda today.
Okay. Need an approval of the agenda?
So moved. I second it.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Introduction of guests on 4.
Well, I think for us, I'd like to go ahead and introduce, I actually want to have the managers introduce the staff that they brought, so Kelly.
I have Heather Kane, who's our licensing clerk out of Tahlequah, and I have Stacy Abad, who's our licensing agent here at the Hard Rock. Tracy has. I put my people to work. I have Kim Baker, she's a compliance officer, and then Paul Sauerjohn, compliance officer.
I'm going to ask CNE to introduce themselves for the record. We'll start back here with Melody.
Morning, Melanie with CNB Audit Services.
Hi, I'm Dina Guy from the legal department.
Robert Taylor, Loss Prevention.
April Alley, Corporate Security. Jennifer Bryan, Employee Services.
Eric Christensen, CNG Compliance.
Dave Flood, counsel.
Angela Jobe, IT.
Monica Richards, CNE Finance.
Harry Waddell, Casino Operations.
Mickey Ward, CNE Operations.
Rick Mays, CNE Marketing.
Joshua Anderson, CNE Surveillance.
Donald Childers, Surveillance Loss Prevention.
Tessina Jackson, Cherokee Phoenix. Brittany Bennett, Cherokee Phoenix.
Glad you're all here. I guess we can go into CNE reports, and I guess we need executive session for that, so I'd ask
So
for...
moved.
Mr. Barrett,
Yes, ma'am.
I think we forgot the approval of the minutes, actually.
I thought we
did
the agenda, not the minutes. I'm sorry. You're exactly right. I do need a approval of the minutes.
So moved. I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. With your help, we'll get through this. There you go. Now we'll go to CNE reports, and I need a motion for executive session.
So moved. I make that a second.
Okay, we have that motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, before we go start with old business, we need to make an amendment to the agenda, and we'd like to move item A down to F under investigations. Could I have a motion
So
on that?
moved.
And a second?
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we will make that notice that we will move A, and we'll go to Jamie under old business.
For item B under old business, what you have in your packet is a draft regulation regarding a schedule of civil penalties. As part of the new ordinance, there is a portion in there that authorizes the commission to come up with a schedule of civil penalties to address any infractions that may occur at the gaming facilities, whether they occur by an employee, a patron, or a vendor. As a part of developing this proposed regulation, I've looked at both tribal and non-tribal jurisdictions to find out what is the sort of best of breed, what are the best practices out there related to a good, solid due process. I think what we have in this draft is just that. It is a draft regulation that not only sets out the procedure by which any infractions would be governed, but it also provides a very fair and clear-cut set of criteria that the commission can use when assessing each fraction upon its own merits. It takes into account any actions that were taken, good or bad, any cooperation that was received. It talks about whether or not an issue is egregious or not egregious, self-reporting versus self-discovery by the commission. And it provides, I think, a fair schedule for the commission to use to eliminate any subjectivity that may be associated with any decision regarding an infraction. As with any new regulation or a change to a regulation, if the commission would approve this today, it would go out for 30-day public comment, which is required in the Cherokee Nation Administrative Procedures Act. At the end of that 30 days, any comments that were received, we would review, and we would probably keep with our standard practice, which is to meet with, particularly with representatives from CNE, to see if there are any questions or any things that we might be able to shed light on or clarify as they are reviewing and developing their comments. So we would keep doing that process, but after all the comments have been received, we will review them, provide the commission any recommended changes, and then come up with a final draft of the recommended regulation. This has been originally introduced a few months ago, so I hope you've had a good time to take a look at it and judge it for your own self, whether or not there are any issues or if there are any questions that might need to be taken up with it. If there are, I'll make myself available to answer those for you today.
I do not, and my iPad keeps shutting down and closing out everything, so I can't really keep up with that, but I have no questions.
I have none.
As we go through it, and when I say go through it, as we go through the process, including the public comment process, at any point along the way, if there are questions or anything suggested to make changes to the document, we have at least 30 to 45 days to make those changes, so it doesn't have to be done right now. I do believe the draft that you have is a good working draft, and I would recommend the commission approve it for publication under the APA and move forward.
Okay.
So moved.
We have a motion?
So moved.
I second it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. We will get that published, hopefully, tomorrow may be difficult, but by Monday for sure. Tomorrow is the Cherokee Nation's all employee meeting.
Right.
Starts at 10 o'clock, and I think most everybody will be checking out at the complex by 9 to get up there in time to get registered for those early bird drawings. So, but definitely have it up by Monday.
Okay, we're going to go to item C, Jamie?
For item C, the tort claim regulation, this is one that was proposed and approved by the commission some months ago. It did go through the APA process. We did receive some comments, and although they were submitted late, we did incorporate some of the changes that were requested in there. The tort claim regulation, as you know, is based on the compact provisions regarding such claims, and incorporates not just the gaming machine compact, as I call it, but also the off-track wagering compact, because both compacts have tort claim procedures in those, and the tort claim regulation takes those into account. I think the regulation as it's being proposed is meeting not just the gaming machine compact, but also the OTB compact. And I would recommend it be approved in its final form.
Okay. Do we have a motion on that?
I move we approve the tort claim regulation. This final proposal.
We have a
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Fisher and a second by Weaver. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item D, promotional activity price claim regulations.
Similar to the tort claim regulation, this one was also proposed a few months ago. It also went through the APA process and did receive some comment. And just as a brief refresher, this regulation came about as a result of comments we received on other regulations where we were looking at price claims for both Class 2 and Class 3. The promotional activities were originally included in the price claim procedure for Class 2, and it was commented that it really belonged on its own, and we agreed with that. So we took the elements that were pertaining to promotional activities out of the price claim regulation and put it in its own. The comments that we received on this were incorporated in most part. I think in your packet there, we outlined the things that we changed as a result of the comments. This is really a continuation of our current and our historical practices, only now it's on its own regulation, its own separate document. Again, the regulation, I think, incorporates the comments that we received as well as our historical practices. So I recommend it be adopted also in its final form.
Anybody have any questions or comments about that? And I need a-
No, I'll make a motion, we approve
Okay,
it.
have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item E,
Item E, 6 review and approval process. Some time ago, we identified, I think we may have independently thought of it, CNE and the Gaming Commission. We didn't get together and talk about exactly what that process needs to look like in terms of how the system of internal controls as developed by CNE and what its contents are, how that is to proceed through the Commission for approval, what needs to come up to the Commission for approval. When we first started talking about this, and I think we set a meeting, a 3 months ago, looking at developing this process. And I put down a set of guidelines that are contained in your packet that outline the procedure as we would like to see that as anything that is submitted as a part of their system of internal controls, which is based on the NIGC definition, which includes not only policies and procedures, but any standard operating procedures, desk procedures, training materials, whatever it is that CNE will be using to implement the internal control standards becomes a part of their system of internal controls. What we try to do with this process and this outline, and you'll see not only is there a set of guidelines there that are enumerated, 1 through 7, but there is also a corresponding table that outlines a 7-phase review and approval process. What we tried to do with this is to examine the various types of submissions that we would anticipate, whether it be a policy, whether it be a new policy versus a revision, looking at SOPs, looking at the different things that CNE will use and applying some reasonableness test to it as to what process it should take. If it's a new process, it's a new policy, then obviously it would warrant closer scrutiny, a little bit further review than normal. If we were looking at a standard operating procedure, those would probably be more apt to change than a policy would. So what process do we want to follow with those? The process that we've outlined, the table that we've given as far as the 7-phase process goes, and the enumerated guidelines here, we've discussed with CNE, we've taken their comments on it, and one of the things I wanted to put out here is what we're proposing here is not necessarily a regulation. This is not something that we would make a hard and fast regulation. for the simple reason that, much like their system of internal controls, this needs to be somewhat of a living document. This is the guidelines that we will use on our respective sides to funnel information back and forth and to get approvals to the commission. But as we go through and implement this new process, there may be tweaks, some adjustments that we'll have to make along the way. And as a matter of regulation, we did not want to put such a finite hold on a review and approval process, because each one contains its own unique elements that may expedite one review and it may delay another review, depending on the various factors. CNE may have issues, a vendor may have issues, or we may have issues. We did not want to put anyone in jeopardy of not complying with the regulation. So therefore, while we will stick very, very, very close to the guidelines that we have here, we did not want to put anyone in a position to where it was unreasonable to expect compliance when it is not within their power to do so. What we're looking at with this is authorization and acceptance and approval from the commission to use this process so that we can definitively say that, we've identified the responsibilities both of operations and of the commission. We know what the process is supposed to look like, what's going to be contained, and who has the responsibilities along the way. I think this document, which is really an updated version of the document that we put out in 2004, it's been updated because things have changed, processes have changed, and the regulatory structure really has changed. So we wanted to make sure that we put something out there that was responsive to the needs of operation, but also allow both of us to meet compliance. One thing I do want to put out there as a special recognition is when we're looking at submissions for systems, whether it be a gaming system or a peripheral system, we were looking at a slightly different treatment for those types of submissions. When we have a brand new system, obviously that's what we would call a full release. Something brand new. It's very substantive that requires both operations and us, and possibly the vendor, to go through and make sure that we are compliant before we bring it to the commission. Whereas something along the way, if there is a hot fix that is needed for a minor issue, or a service pack that comes out. A service pack is basically a bundle of hot fixes or different types of fixes that are intended to address a number of problems. Those come out on a somewhat regular basis. I won't say frequent, but a regular basis. Whereas a hot fix is just that. It's something that is needed immediately. Rather than having those submissions wait for full commission approval, what we are recommending there is that the commission delegate the approval authority for a hot fix and service pack down to my level, so that we can turn those issues around and get the needed immediate actions incorporated out here on the floor live. Whereas anything that is substantive, a major change in the system, or a major change in systems, going from one system to another, where those types of things would still come back to the commission. Anything that we need to address operational issues, we can take care of at the departmental level.
But you'd still keep us posted.
But still, and that information would still be brought back to the commission as notice to say we received hotfix 1-2 and it was approved on this date to solve this problem. It would be something that we would maintain as a part of the file for whatever that issue is. Maintaining much like a policy history. We have an approval history. We approved the original submission on 10/1. We had an upgrade on 10/20. We had a hotfix on 11/2. We had a hotfix on 11/15. Whatever the case may be, we would keep a running tab of what was done on that particular item. And again, this is something that we have gone over. I think the issues that we have talked about with this are fairly well-known between operations and us, and knowing that as we go through this, we're going to encounter things that work good in theory, but when they're in practical application may need some adjustment. One of the things that I would like to amend on the approval is not the date of 15 October, but the date of today. So any of the 6 that were submitted prior to today would be covered by a grandfather period that would last, as I recommend here, up to 9 months. So that way we can get any of the 6 that we haven't already reviewed, looked at and covered with operations, and doesn't prohibit them from using the policies or the 6 that they have submitted up to this point. But it does give us both time to work through any issues that we may come up to or come up with as we go through that review process. So rather than saying 15 October, I'd rather amend that to say 10 December and still keep with that 9-month period.
Jamie, have we met with C&E on these?
Yes, a couple of times.
And they have agreed to this?
Yeah, and I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I think the last time that we left it, the comments that we got as far as some of the things that I did not have in here originally, such as emergency provisions and things for addressing issues like the hot fixes and the service packs. I think that was the last time we met and discussed it, was it not, Bear?
Adjustments and amendments, you can be made almost immediately, can't we?
Yeah, the issue or the example I like to give is there was an ATM function, I think it was at Ramona, where something was wrong with the ATMs, and they had a hot fix that needed to be implemented, not just there, but at all properties. So they identified it, they got a working version of the software. They put it on one ATM, they tested it out, it worked, and then they were able to implement it. Otherwise, they would have compromised their functions at all the various properties. So it's those types of issues that if John or Bear or whoever gives me a call and says, hey, we got an immediate need here. We've talked to the vendor's got this hot fix, can we put it on the live floor? That would afford us time to take a look at that, see if there's anything of major concern or what the concern is, and then we can address it. We can fix the problem, and then we can go back and look at, is the problem the hot fix, is it a Band-Aid or is it a viable long-term solution? If not, let's work on the long-term. But yeah, those are things that we would need to act on very quickly.
Commissioner Weaver, we did meet and we did discuss a lot of issues that were pertinent to this process, both on their side, to make sure that we are in compliance, that our fix meet the NIGC mix. Our 6, excuse me. We also talked about some of the needs we have as a business, being a 24/7 business, and one of these things about the hot fixes is very important to us because it's kind of hard. If you're meeting once a month and we have a big issue happening, say at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Friday night, or Friday morning, or Saturday night. But it was also talking about the kind of not
Stand
just
up, Bears.
policies and procedures related to operations. It was talking about a more expansive view of the different things that we use, including systems, manuals, and everything else that we use as an operation in order to fulfill our regulatory requirements. So it was talking about developing that system to do so. One of the things that we are going to be doing on our end, which we already sort of had at the version is making this stuff, cataloging everything that we use, the versions that we use, everything that we use to meet the regulatory requirements, and making that completely available to CNGC at any time. Right now, we do have a SharePoint system, which a lot of departments, my department, IT uses to transfer information and stores that information in order for CNGC to see and have access to, immediate access to. but those are the kinds of things that we've discussed. And so I do like the idea of having something that's flexible. I just want to make sure that we don't run into these problems later during audit that, we didn't submit something when we should have and all this kinds of things. I think this process and the related technology will solve a lot of that for both sides.
Okay. All right, thank you, Bear.
And just to reiterate, this is something that looks great on paper. Well, hopefully it functions just as good in real world trial. But I think if we need to make any adjustments to this, we'll definitely let the commission know what those adjustments are and what we need to do. And the process that we've identified, I think, gets us to a point to where anything that may be proposed out there or requested, we're taking a complete packet to the commission. One of the things that we were trying to get away from is anything that may require or allow for conditional approvals or tentative approvals. We'd like to get away from that as much as we can. We'd like to give the commission a complete packet and say, here's everything. And that may not be possible all the time, but for the most part, I think we can do that if we follow a process like this.
Okay.
Let's act on this, Jim. What do you think on this one? Just
So we need
an approval. It's actually proposed final.
Yeah, this is, if the commission is comfortable with this, I don't think we necessarily need a formal approval since it's not going to be a regulation. I just wanted to bring this up and say this is what we're going to be doing or want to be doing in the very near future. Because we've got a number of things that have been out there for a while, some of these policies that we have out there that need to be reviewed. And just a quick note on it, when we were looking at these, we're going to look at them as a process rather than individual or say by department. Instead of taking all the cage policies, we'll take cage, and if there's anything that's associated with the cage, we'll take those up at the same time because they all are a part of that process. At the same time, if there is another process, say we'll pick on revenue audit, if revenue audit policies come up and they also impact something in the cage or another policy, we'll take that issue up as it relates to those policies. So there could be a time where there is a policy that we bring to the commission, recommend approval, that will come back to the commission for, say, reapproval, because now what we're looking at for items related to the cage, it would be approved for items related to the cage. If there's items related to revenue audit that we did not look at that are problematic, then we'll have to come back and say, well, our approval for policy XYZ was for things related to the cage. It was not necessarily meant to cover everything. So if there was something in revenue audit that needed to be changed, we would then be able to come back for another approval for that same policy. Does that make sense? It's convoluted.
It is very, yes.
It's convoluted, but it is, I think, a good way to do it because otherwise we would be potentially recommending to the commission a flawed policy. Whereas we looked at it for things related to this issue, by approving it all, if there was a problem in there that we didn't know about because we didn't look at some other related policy, then it would be a bad thing. I just don't want to put either of us in that position. So what we're looking at is potentially having multiple reviews of multiple policies.
Okay, so we don't need to act on this?
No action.
Okay.
No, but if the commission is comfortable with this, we will start with our next project. I mean, we've been trying to, I think on both sides, to slowly incorporate some of these practices, because like I said, this is really a continuation of something that we put out there back in '04.
Okay.
And we've been trying to refine that process, and I think this does just that.
Okay, so I'd say get
And
with
Bear
it.
just said he likes, you could live with that, Bear, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Just a question, does the delegation of that authority need to be approved? Is that an action they need to take?
Actually, you're right, that is one that does probably need formal commission action. For delegation of those minor issues such as the hot fixes and the service pack type issues, those non-substantive issues, that does need formal action by the commission.
So, can we get a motion on that?
I make that motion.
But who are we going to use? I mean, we're going to use Jamie or?
Yeah, it would be-
Jamie.
it would be.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'll second.
So you trust Jamie?
Yeah, I'm kind of iffy on some
Okay.
things, but
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
I,
Aye. Jamie, do we want to go forward to new business? Can we do that in the 9 minutes or 7 minutes that we have? Or can we push back you said 10:30 for the investigations?
Take a break.
Yeah, I would suggest we take a brief break, amend the agenda to come back and take up item 8F, the investigations and hearings. Due to the closeness of the hour, that would give everybody about a 5-minute break.
okay.
And I make that motion.
So now, wait, do we need to amend the agenda before?
Yes, we need to go ahead and, I
Okay.
would recommend going ahead and amending the agenda to move item 8F up to the next item of business.
As soon as we
So
come back in
moved.
session.
Okay,
All right.
we have a motion on that, Shannon? Get a second?
I make that motion.
No, I
Second.
made it.
Oh,
You said.
well,
Second.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Let's just take a
And
little
we'll take a
break.
separate break and we'll come back to that. So we need to come out of recess
And then go-
and then go into executive session to take up item F. Do we need a motion on that?
So moved.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're back in the regular section, and we're down to item F, investigations, license actions, and hearings. And I'm going to ask Ms. Myers to read those to us as we make our motions on that.
Okay, for tab number 1, it's been tabled pending current criminal charges. Tab number 2 is continued. Tab number 3, remain on suspension until more information can be provided on the current criminal charge. Tab number 4, suitable. Tab number 5, license denial for criminal activity. Tab number 6, suitable. Tab numbers 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 were license revocation for violation of substance abuse. Tabs number 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 were all tabled.
Okay?
Well, let's take items 17 and 18 separate.
Okay, so tabs 13, 14, 15, and 16 were tabled.
Okay, do I have a motion on accepting those as read?
I'll make that motion.
I second it.
Okay, you got a motion by Weaver and a second by Fisher. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And items 17 and 18?
For items 17 and 18, Dina Guy was here. I think Mr. Baker probably is gone. What we're recommending on this, Dina, just to let you know, is that we continue this on to the January meeting, since we got the letter on Tuesday. And the commission's only had just a day and a half with it to look at it and consider it. They want more time to read through everything. So I'm going to recommend items 17 and 18 be continued until the January meeting.
Do we need a motion on that?
Yes, please.
Okay, can I have a motion
So
on
moved.
continuous? So I have a motion by Weaver,
I second it.
second Fisher, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, do we want to go back up to new business and take up item A?
Yes, we're ready to proceed with the agenda as scheduled.
Just did, right.
Do what?
Permits and licenses.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on old business, okay. I'm with you, I'm catching up. Okay, for licenses this month, for December, we have 93 temporary permits that are ready for commission approval. 2 are gaming commission employees, James Hildebrand, who's a gaming agent here at Catoosa, and Amanda Hood, who is an internal audit clerk at Tahlequah. 68 suitability determinations that are ready for commission approval, one being CNGC staff Amanda Hood. 88 license orders that are ready for commission approval. 3 are gaming commission. Haley No is a gaming agent at Catoosa, right? West Salem, sorry, West Salem. James Hildebrand is a gaming agent here at Catoosa, and Johnny Doherty is a gaming agent at Roland, Salisaw area. 225 renewals that are ready for commission approval for January of 2016. One is a gaming commission employee, Walter Davis, who's a vendor licensing agent in Tahlequah. And there are no gaming commissioner renewals for this month. So I recommend these license types approved as listed.
So moved.
Second it?
Motion by Weaver, second by Fisher. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
For vendors license this month, we have 1 new company, Class A gaming company, that's ready for commission approval. 27 individual Class A gaming technicians that are ready for commission approval. 5 company renewals that are ready for commission approval, all Class A gaming, and 31 individual technician renewals that are ready for commission renewal, and the 31 all Class A gaming. And I recommend these approved as listed.
Need a motion?
Make that motion. to approve.
Second.
Motion Goins, seconded by Weaver. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
For license classifications, this month we have 4 new interrupter license classifications that were submitted to us. 3 of the positions were title change only, and 1 new position that was submitted from Employee Services that's listed. We're recommending license type approval, and the job descriptions are attached.
To make a motion that we approve those.
Motion, Ms. Goins, to approve this.
I second it.
Second by Fisher. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
For item C, for game approvals, we have 36 new electronic game themes. 6 of those are Ainsworth, 13 IGT, 10 multimedia, 2 WMS, 5 WMS/GTAG, and then 1 new multimedia cabinet. We did have 1 IGT theme, Mega Meltdown, that received director's approval prior to this commission meeting. We've reviewed all of the themes and asked for your approval.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion Fisher, second Weaver. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Down to item, I'm sorry, another one? Okay.
So with the game approvals, we're going to put
Sorry
the
about that.
system approvals with that. And I know iTrack's next. I think Tracy Christie took a look at that upgrade.
Yeah, this will be quick. It's, that's for approval to upgrade iTrack from 5.9 to 5.9.2.1.
Really?
Yeah.
Currently utilizing it at all the properties by security, surveillance, and loss prevention to maintain records of incident reports, excluded persons, surveillance reviews, lost and found items, and electronic vendor check-in. And I reviewed all the submitted documentation from April behind me, and that's the commission to grant full approval for this upgrade.
You make that recommendation to it?
Yes, ma'am.
And I make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Fisher, second by Weaver. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
Okay, the next system is online account management for the website that CNE's wanting to implement for the players to be able to view their player points and any other promotions or activities going on at the casino. They got it set up, and I know we met with them back, I believe, in September, and they've submitted all the documentation for it. We reviewed it thoroughly and ensured that there's all security measures are in place. One thing that I did put on the memo is that I would like to maybe get with CNE once they implement it, maybe 6 months down the road, and do some type of penetration test to ensure that all those security features are still in place. But based on everything received, I recommend full approval to implement the website. So.
Okay, need a motion on that?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, Fisher and Weaver. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next one that did not make your packet, and I apologize, is VIP Lightspeed upgrade. This is actually something that's needed for the casino to be in compliance with the new EMV, which is EuroPay, MasterCard, and Visa. If you notice, for us, it's basically the little chip that goes in your new credit cards and things like that. One of the global payments failed to meet the October deadline, which they assumed all liability for. Up until now, they're ready to implement all of the equipment and all of the software to be able to come into compliance with that. Not only does it come into compliance with EMV, it also has added security, bug fixes, and some back-end efficiencies that CNE has noted within their letter of intent. Which is on the back of your memo as well. I'm only going to ask for tentative approval for this, just because we received it just this week. So I want to be able to have time to review it and look at it in compliance with our TICs and ensure that we have all the documentation that we need to ask for full approval. So I just asked for tentative approval for now, and then hopefully once we review everything and get all the documentation in, we can come back in January to request full approval.
Okay.
I make that recommendation for tentative approval.
I'll second.
Okay, motion Fisher, second Weaver. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Got it?
Is that all yours?
Nope, I got promotions too. Promotions and tournaments. For promotions, at Catoosa, they have one new. West Palm Springs, one new promotion. Roland, 3 new and 1 revision and 1 cancellation. Salisaw, there's 3 new and 3 cancellations. Tahlequah, 3 new, 1 revision and 2 cancellations. For Fort Gibson, 3 new, 1 revision and 2 cancellations. And in Ramona, they have 1 new promotion for this month. Jeannie has reviewed all of those, and we're going to hear approval for them to implement those promotions.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion on the promotions by Weaver and a second by Goins. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And for tournaments, they have one new and 1 revision for Catoosa. For West Palm Springs, 1 schedule of events for advertising only, which should be in your packet as well. 1 revision and 1 cancellation. For Roland, there's 1 new, 2 temporary suspensions because of some of the New Year's Eve festivities. They're going to be suspending a couple of their tournaments to be able to provide for those scheduled in. Jeannie has reviewed those, and we would like approval of those as stated in your memo.
I make that recommendation for approval.
Second.
Okay, motion Fisher, second Goins. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
DFG, gaming facility license.
Yes. For item G, as we enter the last days of 2015, it's now time to take up the facility licenses for all of our gaming facilities for 2016. What we have in your packet is a recommendation from Deborah Wilson, who is my administrative officer. She's the one that also conducts the quarterly as well as the annual inspections at all of the gaming facilities. They worked real hard at the 3rd quarterly inspection, and I think there were just a few minor items that Deborah was working with the safety people at the respective facilities to correct, but nothing that would compromise their ability to get an annual facility license. Based on this, she still has a few inspections to follow up on. These won't be full-blown not investigations, but full-blown inspections. These will be follow-ups to the last quarterly inspection. She does not anticipate finding anything outside of the regulations that would compromise her recommendation, which is to grant facility licenses for 2016 for the listed gaming facilities.
Okay. Do we need a motion on that?
Yes, and her recommendation is to allow me to deliver the certificates that we will be asking you to sign here upon successful completion of all of the follow-up inspections. And we still need to get Chairwoman's Lee's signature on them as well, so we won't be able to deliver them until probably next week.
Okay. So, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay. Motion Weaver,
I second.
second Fisher, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. H, audit cycle update.
For H, within your packets, we have the CND audit for quarterly key and access. Also, I passed out their ongoing activities quarterly report and card and table games for scope audit. And I'm not sure, I guess Melody got tired of waiting. But since I did just hand them out today, if you have any questions for her, I'll make sure that she's available in January. Also, I handed out the CNGC surveillance audit for your review. We have gaming systems and table games which should be issued this next week to management, so hopefully we'll be able to bring those to you in January. So if you have any questions regarding our audit processes, I'll take those.
I don't have a question. I don't know if,
We're still in the process of being audited by BKD.
Yeah.
Did we decide to take them off the agenda?
No, I've got an update here.
Okay, all right. So as soon as they get that done, we'll kind of, hopefully they'll give you a good report on us. So that's the auditors, auditing the auditors.
okay.
And so we should have something from them on that in January as well.
For item I,
Thank you, Tracy.
I got an email last night from Joe Hosser with BKD. He apologizes for not being able to be here. He has a family issue, emergency to deal with. He's got a sick child at home. And Don is out of town this week, so he couldn't be with us. But he wanted me to pass along that, excuse me, C&E is about halfway complete with field work. We are expecting a first draft of the financial statements for management during the last week of December. At this time, we have no findings or issues to report. WRD is a little further along, and we're also expecting a first draft of the financial statements from management during the last week of December as well. We also have no findings or significant issues to report. C&E mix procedures are almost complete. We are awaiting the final drop count reports from the CNGC and have about 7 more interviews with various casino personnel that we're waiting to hear back from and complete. We're planning to have our procedures completed by the end of this month and have a preliminary draft of our report completed with any findings at this time as well. We do anticipate reporting some findings that are similar to what has been reported in past years. Management continues to cooperate with all engagements, and we continue to remain on pace with the completion of our audits. And they will be at the January meeting as well. So,
Another thing for January meeting, the external audit
yes,
update.
that'll still be on the January meeting, and hopefully then we'll be getting close to having the final reports, because we've got until the 28th of January to send those into the NIGC. And then we'll be forwarding those reports on to the state as well as part of our compact requirements.
Guess we're down to item J. I guess there's a proposed executive session for...
For item J, I think at this month, we do not have any issues that we need to go into executive session for. We'll bring those back up in January.
Good. So I guess we're down to your brief director's report.
And
Thank you, Steve.
taking that subtle hint, I'll leave it at 2 things. One is, you heard we had 4 new employees join the commission this past month.
And 2 new today,
We
or
have
Monday.
2 starting this week,
Additional, right?
2 additional, so we'll have a total of 6 coming on board. We've got a couple of jobs to advertise. We're losing 1 employee.
It's advertised right now, yeah.
Being hired away by one of our vendors.
Who are we losing?
Amanda, my vendor licensing agent, Amanda Vance, was going to work for VGT as
Oh,
a vendor
really?
licensing agent, yeah.
Who?
Amanda Vance.
Really?
She's gonna
Okay.
go be their vendor licensing agent now.
Yep.
Is that a good deal for her?
It's a very good deal for her.
A very good deal for her. It hurts for us.
Yeah.
But they called, and they wanted her. so-
Can't blame anybody for wanting to
Nope.
against themselves.
That's what I told her.
Another one we lose.
Yeah.
And we started with the electronic license application at West Siloam Springs this week. Kelly, you can give a brief update on it?
No issues or anything yet. We met with them last week to do training on it, and everybody in the Employee Services Department that we did training on were really excited about it because it's going to cut down their work. They were kind of scared at first, oh, this is easy, so they liked it. There hasn't been any applications other than our new employees go through yet because once we went live with it Monday, then they would stop taking paper applications, and they were already in the process of hiring their new ones, so I'm expecting to see them start entering in new applicants next week. But it is live, and we have been using it as our database, and we have been using it for the CNGC employees that I've been licensing as well. So they're looking forward to it. And there wasn't any questions or any concerns after we went through the training on it with the employee services staff there.
Good thing, Kelly.
We're going to give that a few weeks of running out there before we move it out to the other properties, but I think we're going to look at Roland and Salisaw next, and then up to Tahlequah, Fort Gibson, and lastly we'll be up here.
This was an online database that we've been working with this company for years now, developed specifically for gaming commissions on licensing and the process and the development on everything. And we already have 2 tribes coming in on the week of the 17th that want to see it and see our process that we're using it, one from California and one from here in Oklahoma.
Good. It's always a good thing, Kelly. We appreciate that.
That's it.
Open session? Or adjournment?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Got a
I'll second
Got a
that.
second? Motion Weaver, second Fisher. I guess I can vote yes on that.